If you oh, the woman trying to leave her daughter with the husband home alone.
Around 120 million girls worldwide have encountered or experienced forced sexual intercourse or forced sexual acts. And the common perpetrators of this are current or former boyfriend, husband, or even partners. Now, sexual intercourse without a valid consent is rape. It has become too big a problem to sweep it under the world carpet. So today, we are talking about that. Welcome to the Everyday Woman.
Now who I go ask?
My name is Mary Moikali, and we are the Westgate Pop-Up Market. And when you see me, you know, it's Monday. Yeah, when we are all seated and having serious conversation. It's the Everyday Woman, and today we're talking about rape. We're talking about all the things around it, from where it happens, who it happens to, the people who actually do this to women, and going all the way to the low bit of it, and also talking about the different organizations that have come together to protect and create conversations around this. It's going to be a very interesting conversation. I have Veneranda and Nuna in the building. Yay. How are you guys doing?
I'm fine.
Like, I love the color combination.
Thank you. Thank you. We're women.
Is it a thing, like short hair?
Oh. Natural.
Wait, you hadn't noticed? You hadn't noticed?
We're natural.
Natural,
yeah.
Natural. It's a good thing. Karibuni sana. Maybe I'd like you to introduce yourself to the people, and your camera is this.
My name is Nuna, and I'm a survivor myself of rape, and I am a counseling psychologist by profession, and a founder of an amazing movement, amazing foundation called Wounded Healers. Yeah.
Beautiful. That name gives me a difficult time, so Niki Shema, Niki Kada, Balanda, you will forgive me.
It's
or
okay.
I'll just go with B.
B is fine.
Okay, great. Introduce yourself to the people, B.
My name is Veneranda Rebecca Kuboka. I'm a child and youth psychologist, also the founder of Youth Changers Kenya, a community-based organization that seeks to promote sexual reproductive health and rights and mental health in Kiambu County. I'm also part of the Obama African Leaders Program.
Beautiful. You recently, I was hosting an award ceremony the other a few months back.
Yes.
And you were part of that. I actually remember calling out your name, and I was wondering, what is she doing? What is she doing? So maybe you can tell us a bit of that before we get into the discussion today.
Yeah, so I was actually, it was very unexpected because some of the women who are part of who are the nominees are doing a lot of good work. Okay. So I had people calling out their. I had people calling out. They were just calling out randomly different names. Yes. For some reason, I couldn't hear my name, and I kept asking myself, okay, did they forget my name? Then I had second runners-up, first runners-up. Then I had winner Veneranda, and I was like, whoo! I was really shocked. But for me, I think it was you know, those aha moments, those things that you're really looking forward to, because you're doing a lot of good work on the ground, and you want someone to actually recognize or just affirm what you're doing so that you can keep going. So for me, it was a very, very humbling moment. Very humbling.
You know, we're talking about rape today, and it's one of those cases where mixed feelings in terms of reporting them, who's doing, who's inflicting this, who is it rape if I'm married, is it, you know, there's so many questions around this particular topic. And maybe Nuna will start with you, and we can just give us an experience. What happened to you? How old were you? Did you know this person?
It happened when I was 17 years old. I had just completed my Form 4 school, and it was my first time in Nairobi, a big city that everyone wanted
Where were
to
you
come
coming from?
to.
Nyumbani
Murang'a Central. And the stories of Nairobi were amazing, and I really wanted to be part of Nairobi.
Okay.
And I wanted to shed my R and L.
Did you manage to do that?
It's an inborn.
It's an inborn thing. So you're still struggling with the
I'm
R's and
still
L's.
there. I'm still there.
It's okay. It's okay.
So I was welcomed in Nairobi. It was I came to Nairobi on 19th of February 2007.
Okay.
But the issue was I had not cleared my exam in high school. So I really wanted to become a doctor.
Okay.
And I was coming to Nairobi because everyone in Nairobi seemed successful to me. And I wanted to come and get money, get my certificate, and go to university and become a doctor. So I came to Nairobi, and where we were living, okay, my expectation was shut down. Like, I didn't see what I expected to see in
What were you
Nairobi.
expecting? Tall buildings and flashy cars?
Flashy, I didn't expect to see that.
A Timtaro?
Yeah,
no.
people speaking my language, and I was like, ooh. So they also speak
They still speak Kikuyu in
They
Nairobi.
speak Kikuyu in Nairobi. I didn't want to speak my Kikuyu.
No.
So I wanted to speak
English.
Sheng. No,
Oh,
Sheng.
Sheng.
Yeah.
Ha.
And that one, I really wanted to learn how to use it. Okay. And then I came to live with my sister, and it was on a Friday, the day I was raped. On a Friday, my sister, the guy was living around my sister's place. And he told me, I was only like 3 days in Nairobi, and I was trying to catch up, changing my dress code, the way I speak, and I really wanted to learn how to speak like Nairobi people. Okay. So my sister were not in the house. It was on a Friday, and the guy walked in, because I had seen him several days, the days I was there, and he said that it was on a Friday, so girls are taken out by their boyfriends. So my sisters are not coming home, and I didn't have phone, and they are going out
with their boyfriend.
With their boyfriend. Okay. So it was like, ooh. And the house that my sister was living, there was no TV. Okay. And I wanted to watch a TV. It was on a Friday. It seemed fun to me on a Friday, again in Nairobi. So he told me to go with him in his house, and that's what I did. It was during this Mungiki time, the 2007 elections. So there was a lot of movement going on, and he spoke my language, like he spoke Kikuyu, and I was like, ooh. Again, if I kwama speaking in Kiswahili, nita chip in my Kikuyu, so it's easy. So I followed him to his house, and that day there was a TV, and I remember very well it was DJ Afro show. So the way he translates, the guy told me he's the one translating. It was my first time to see DJ Afro.
So he told you he was DJ Afro?
Yes. I didn't know DJ Afro.
I don't know DJ Afro as
so
well. I have never seen him.
The one speaking, he told me he was the one. So I was like, oh, this is a cool guy. And he cooked rice, and it was interesting. And he dragged me with the juice. And waking up the following morning, I found myself in the bed with 2 guys. And later on, it was a struggle. He warned me not to say. I really didn't say. And again, as much as he threatened me not to say, I was scared, because I was like, it was me only who saw. Like, I should keep quiet. I didn't want to let people know what has happened to me. So I chose to keep quiet. And keeping quiet meant like going back, taking a shower. Like, I didn't know what I know today, what you are supposed to do. So to me, I was okay to keep quiet and went back to the house. And later on, I realized that I was pregnant. My son today is 12 years old. Amazing boy.
Wow. What was going through your head? At what point did you, I'm going to get to you, V, but at what point did you did you start talking about this? Who was the first person you ever told?
I really struggled with saying, because when I realized, I had decided I will not say.
Okay.
And the only reason I usually think I said even today is because I was pregnant. I needed other people. I could not hide the pregnancy for long. So it took me months. My sister was, my best sister who was looking after me. She's a small sister, but she was always there. And I went through a lot of emotions that time. And I was crying all the time, and my sister could not understand. And I was not okay to tell her what has happened. And me too, like I had not come into term, like what happened to me. So when I realized I was pregnant, it's the time that I knew now this is difficult time. And I told my sister that I'm pregnant, but I did tell her what happened.
Yeah.
But during that time, the journey of pregnancy, I really wanted to do an abortion. I really tried to do an abortion.
You did?
Yes, I really tried.
Did you see this guy? Did you ever?
No.
So he disappeared just like that?
They disappeared completely.
Did you know the other guy?
No, I didn't know.
Okay.
I had not seen him before. So when I realized I was pregnant, it was so difficult for me to, like, you know, when you're pregnant, who's the father? And I didn't want that question. So every time I was hiding my pregnancy, waiting for the day that I will do an abortion. And I really tried to save money to do an abortion. The hospital that I could go, the clinics, were saying, bring 2,000, and getting 2,000 to me was so difficult. So the pregnancy grew up to 9 months when I was still in the process of doing an abortion. And I really went through hard time that time, because it was something that I didn't want to tell my parents, and because the life in Nairobi became so difficult, I had to go home. And going home, it was, again, my parents could not get it, and I was forced to come back to Nairobi. And coming back to Nairobi meant my sister had already, like, knew I am pregnant, so I cannot live like with her. Yeah, I go to the village, and that is where I would survive. But when I came back, I didn't tell anyone, and I decided to live my life. And that is now was the most difficult time. I started living outside in the streets. Like I slept in Latema several times. In the process of trying to find who do I tell? All this time I didn't tell anyone until my sister, the same sister, because now I was lost to everyone. Absolutely. My sister rescued me again. And
could I just pause there for a bit to just rope in Miss V? You deal with these cases, and is this the same process is mostly what many young girls go through?
Yes, I just want to probably just point out quite a number of things based on what she has said.
Yes.
That many times when girls or women experience rape, it's a very difficult thing to even start expressing it to others. Yeah, we're in a very judgmental society, and there's a lot of victimization that is normally directed to the person who has gone through rape. So one of the things that we keep asking is, so why didn't you report? You had dressed in this manner. Why didn't you even talk to someone? Yeah. So we actually direct a lot of blame
back to the person who went through the experience.
Yeah, which is it's very wrong, to be honest, because this person is experiencing a crisis. They are probably at a state of where they're going through a trauma. Yeah. And based on what she has said, one of the things that people do not understand is when you experience anything that is very tragic to you, one, emotionally, psychologically, you lose it. You're in a state of denial, you become numb, you're very bitter, you really do not understand what's going on. You're actually in touch with reality. You're not out of touch with reality, yeah? So it becomes very difficult for you to even start talking about what you've gone through. And many times, like she said, it's very difficult for women to even have an option to terminate a pregnancy. Where do you even start? Again, if people know that you've terminated a pregnancy, what stigma is associated in the society with you terminating a pregnancy? So those are some of the challenges that people go through. And many people don't know what to do. So if I'm raped, what exactly should I do?
What do you feel that the first instinct is just clean yourself?
Exactly.
You just want to clean yourself off of it.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
so
you shouldn't, and we're going to get to that point, to get to that point where we talk about the things you need to do when you find out that you've experienced or gone through rape. The people we know, the people we see, boyfriends, husbands, partners, uncles, brothers, they say that those are the people that actually have... Look at the way you're pointing at
Oh
me.
yes, because it's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like now the girls that I'm supporting right now, all of them, their cases is the family. And they're told it is your uncle who pays your school fees. So if you say the school fees will be terminated, so you will not go to school, we are living under the mercies of this person who is abusing you. So we have to keep quiet.
And that is the family in general.
Oh yes.
So how do you handle such cases? And thank God that we have you two doing what you're doing, protecting, and girls have a place to go to. But when you went to procure abortion, when you went to talk to these people, to the clinics and tell them, I'd like to abort, did they ask you the circumstances? Was there a counseling session before that? Was there?
No.
It was just 2,000 bob alafu tumalize hii maneno.
Iko na miezi gapi? Hiyo ni 2,500.
And that's a major gap.
Yeah.
That's a major gap because that's where the conversation
Exactly.
begins.
One of the things that needs to be done is for you as a professional to actually have the ability to offer abortion counseling. Yeah. So that I know what I'm getting myself into. Yeah. And I can be able to also make a decision and say, this is the route that I actually want to take. Yeah. I personally offer abortion counseling. And one of the things that I've seen that doing is, by the end of the day, that young girl, that young woman has the ability to say, I clearly do not want to keep this pregnancy. This is too much trauma. I cannot stand it. I don't want to move with this. Yeah.
One of the cases, some of the cases that you deal with, Miss V, what are some of the, I don't want to call them like worst case scenarios, but we've had situations of very, very young children going through that. They do not know anything in the world, 2, 3, 4 years old, 5 years old. Have you had to deal with such cases?
Yes, I've personally had to deal with such cases, but you see, I mean, at times I also get very emotional when I'm talking about these things because those cases are very, very, very heartbreaking. Because if a child is brought in therapy for you to take them through counseling, and one, they really don't know or understand what exactly happened to them, it also frustrates you and it really leaves you helpless. I've had an experience of where I've handled cases of young girls who are living with disabilities and they have been violated sexually by people who are very close to them, others who are even being taken care of in homes, which is so annoying. I get mad at times. I'm like, you know, this is just too much. I can't stand it. It is too much. How on earth do you defile a person who does not have parents, someone who is under care, and to top it up, they are living with a disability? It is so sad. It is very sad. And I think for me that has been one of the worst cases that I've actually had to handle. And at times I'm coming out of therapy, I'm also traumatized myself because it's just too much for me. Yeah, I'm only human and it becomes very overwhelming. And I'm like, so what do I do with this? And the annoying thing is the perpetuator is walking around. I get more irritated. I'm like, no, this can't happen. This can't continue happening.
So what happens? What happens? They're walking around. Is it the same thing about evidence? And I remember V asking, do we have a lawyer on that panel? Because we need, and maybe we can have a follow-up, because honestly, what happens? Why are they walking around? What are some of the cases that you've had to deal with that you're looking at the person, you know, that uncle who's paying that school fees, but there's nothing that you can do?
Like, you know, sometimes it becomes so difficult, just as she's saying, because you find that even the girl herself, she has been traumatized in a way she does not want to handle. Like,
she feels this is more embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like, I've already gone through enough, now telling the world.
And now she starts saying, if I report this, it means my mother too will suffer. It means, sometimes, like, I am having cases of girls who come to me. A girl has been, now she's HIV positive, from the uncle. They are living under the same roof with the uncle, and she does not want to say because the uncle is the breadwinner. Now, I ask, like, how do I help? I don't have a home myself to take this girl. What I do, I try to look for safe houses, organizations that are giving safe housing, and I get that girl. But we realize getting this girl from their home to now safe house means it is something that needs to be dealt with. The parent will want to know, and the girl does not even want the mother to know what has been happening to her from the uncle. So this girl is coming to you in a session, and you are like, oh my God, no, no.
And I think one of the things that we are also doing is people are resolving to sorting things out of court.
Yeah.
So this happens, give me a goat, give me money.
A goat?
Yes.
A goat?
A goat, even chickens. Give me a chicken, give me a goat, give me money, let us deal with this issue at this level. And then we can be able to just leave it at that. And I think one of the things that we need to discourage is out-of-court settlements. Because if we have someone who has violated the rights of girls, women running around,
they will do it again.
they will definitely do it again, and they will do it to someone who's even close to you. So we also need to have that responsibility and say, this should not be happening around me. If this person has violated her rights, we need to follow. We have frameworks, we have legal frameworks. We need to follow that. The other thing I keep having an issue is, especially where family is involved, either a father-in-law, an uncle, or someone is, oh, this is too ashaming, we want to protect the family name, we know we should not deal with this. I recently encountered an experience of where a mother is getting money from a man so that they can continually defile the girl. And I'm like, what the hell? What? Yes. Yes. And I was asking myself, what is really happening? What is really happening? So for me, I think our system is, sorry to say that, but the system and the structures in which we are living in are very shitty, because many of us have not come to a level of realizing that, you know what, some of these things need to be challenged. Yeah, and that's why I'm on the forefront of saying, no, this cannot happen. And if it's happening, this is what really needs to happen.
So do we need to sort this out in terms of policy, where if it's a matter of sexual violence, if it's a matter of rape, that we cannot settle it out of court and there needs to be no bail, no nothing? Is it something, can it be done? Is there anyone doing that?
I think we need to view it from a systemic approach, because for me, rape is about power, you know? Yeah, a man feels entitled over a woman's body. So we need to start with that and talk to our men, yeah, and tell them that, you know what, you're not entitled to a woman's body. This is my body. And if you need to come to me, you have to ask.
I have to
if
give you
I
context.
say no,
it's a no, people.
It's a no.
It's a no.
It's a no, and you don't need to break those boundaries. Yeah. So that's one of the things. But you see, for young kids, then it becomes very difficult.
It becomes difficult,
yeah?
Because
I lure you. I give you a sweet, or I give you money, or I give you a boda ride. Then what happens next? Yeah, you know. So we need to continually teach our men that they are not entitled to women's bodies. Because society has taught us as women, you know, quote unquote, oh, you should be submissive, oh, you're weaker, oh, the man is superior than you. What the hell is that? Because what that does to me as a woman is it promotes the ideology of superiority. Yeah, I look at a man, they come to me, I know as a woman, my role is to fulfill his sexual desires.
Whatever he needs, whenever he needs,
whatever he needs, you know, that's my role. So those are some of the narratives that we need to unlearn, and we really need to do a lot of work on men, to be honest. Because where rape is happening, it's not about a woman. If you're raping, you have a problem. It is you who has a problem. It's not about my short skirt. It is not about my shortcuts. You have a problem. And we need to begin from there. If we address power issues and issues of entitlement and toxic masculinity from them, from the men, then that's where the revolution begins. Absolutely. In terms of policies, we have very, very good policies. Protecting people even in the context of marriage.
Yeah? Because
but implementation, something else. When it comes to issues of evidence, that is something else. I've had the opportunity to take my girls to court. And one of the things that I keep I get frustrated about is the fact that those processes are very, very cumbersome. Like you have to go there over and over again. The case has been postponed. Girls drop out in the process.
Yeah, they get
If I do
tired.
not have a clinical officer who is going to stand in the gap and say this actually happened, I'm
That's
doomed.
it.
For
That's it.
example, when I was handling the case of the girl who had a mental disability, I needed a psychiatrist to come and say this girl is not in a good state. How many psychiatrists do we have in Kenya? Those are questions we need to interrogate. Those are questions that we really need to interrogate. And what is happening on the ground? There are so many initiatives that are doing a lot of good work on the ground in terms of trying to, you know, teach self-defense to the young girls.
But then we
those
missed
things.
out on what you were talking earlier, the conversation with the men.
Yeah.
So we are busy protecting and teaching the girls,
Yeah.
but we need to talk to the men.
We need
and
to.
I hope they're watching this show
I
today.
hope they are
I hope
listening.
they're
They
watching
have
this
to
show
listen
today.
to this.
They have to. And now that you started Wounded Healers, what are some of those things for anyone who's watching and they would like to pass on this information to anyone else or even for themselves? When I realize that I have been raped, what do I do? Where do I go?
Like, you know, rape sometimes happen when you are a young girl and maybe you didn't speak. So there are different cases here. Like if it happened a long time ago, it's a scar that is in you. No matter how much you want to run away from it, it will still come. So what we usually do is to work with that lady who was, it doesn't matter how long it has taken. We work with holistic. We have holistic care for counseling, because sometimes now when it happened long time ago, just sometimes it cannot be served because there is no evidence. But now it is you as a woman who is suffering, you know, the society. So we usually work with that person for a long-term holistic care. We have different programs. We do leadership program for different ages, and then we have support group. Now support group is where any survivor who is listening is welcome to come in. Like we usually do support group anonymously because we don't again want to attack, because just as she's saying, our society is very, very judgmental. And like for example, if I advertise that you are going to have this support group here,
Na media wafike.
even like
Again.
everyone will want to come, because again, people want to hear and then make their judgment and say, you see how you are dressed even for that support group, how did you expect? So we do this very anonymously, and we tell survivors to hit on our inbox. We do assessment by ourselves as Wounded Healers, because Wounded Healer is basically made by women survivors of sexual violence who have gone through it and they are thriving. They are doing amazing work outside. Some are lawyers, like some are doing much better. And what we do, we want to tell our stories with dignity. Like we don't want to just tell our stories for woye thing. We're using our stories to create awareness that these things happen. They have happened to us. So whoever is silent, you are not alone. And we have opened a platform that we will come step by step and we heal together, because healing out of violence is a process that I will say it's been 12 years and I'm still healing. I'm still getting very irritated whenever I hear such cases. And that irritation triggers me. So it's a healing process that will live with me. And what I can do is to bring women who are like me, survivors who are struggling like me, to come and we talk about it, because talking about it brings a lot of healing. I stayed for 6 years without saying what happened to me. And I would cry every day. Like that is all what I saw. Every time I woke up, I could see what happened to me. And not until I went to do my diploma and a lecturer could notice, like I was off. I used to be off. I'm in university and everyone is a slay queen and I am off. I am coming to school with my child and I'm young and people are wondering, what's wrong with this girl, you know? And the judgment again in the society. Why did she give birth? She's so young. Why did she start getting a child before school? So she deal with her issue. So it was so difficult for me. And when I was starting Wounded Healer, I sat and thought of a girl who doesn't know even what to say. Because once you've been traumatized, you don't have words. Like you cannot even say. And I hate the fact that you're told to report before I come to what you should do. You're told to report, for example, and I've had these cases. A girl goes to report to police station. It happened today in the morning, okay? So you're supposed to go and report to the police. Remember, this girl is so traumatized, doesn't even know, like, it is not making sense to her. And now the statement that you write to police is the same statement that you should go to the court and try to say the same. Like, if you talk, you change it, it spoils the witness. And like, for example, me, after all those years, I sit and remember something different. The more I do counseling, I have had to go a lot of sessions myself. And that is where I realized that I need to do counseling from my experience to basically support survivors of sexual violence, because they're going through so much that we cannot even understand. And when I am trying to tell my story to a different country, I remember something different. Someone wants to go to report, a police ask, how was the person dressing? Like, you can't even remember. But at the journey, you remember. And you cannot go to keep.
So all these things are a barrier to having actually justice served.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My goodness. So back to the earlier question. So I wake up in the morning and I realize I have been raped. What do I do? What are the... So there are a couple of procedures.
Yeah. So one of the things that people are normally told is you should not
Take a shower.
So please don't take a shower. Then if you have any kind of clothing that you had worn at that particular moment, you are supposed to wrap it in a khaki bag, not a polythene plastic
Gazette would do?
bag. Even gazette is better. Yeah.
Okay.
Because when you put it in a plastic bag, what that happens is it interferes with the evidence. Yeah. Then I've seen situations whereby people are told, if, for example, someone is trying to attack you, make sure that you remain with something that belongs to them. It becomes very easy for that person to actually be tracked down. Depending with the circumstances, there are people who first go to the hospital, then go and report to the police. But ideally, what the structure says is you should go first to the police, get an OB number, then they fill in the P3 form, just stating what exactly happened. Then after there, you go to the hospital. Then when you go to the hospital, you're supposed to get, of course, medical support that is supposed to prevent you from, one, getting pregnant, contracting any form of STI or HIV. And then also for you to get counseling. But the unfortunate thing with the many girls I've had a conversation with, counseling does not happen. And if it happens, this little, and there's totally no follow-up. And that's why I come in very strongly, because one of the things that I've strengthened in my interventions as I work with Youth Changers Kenya is to ensure that, one, I help survivors to address the anger and the bitterness, that they actually have within them. I believe in this, Moikali. If I am hurt and I do not deal with that, I will hurt her, I will hurt you, and I will hurt everybody around me.
Ripple effect.
So we have so many people working with so many traumas, and what that means is we are really hurting other people, projecting actually our own personal issues to others based on what we've gone through. So I bring them on board and try and ensure that, you know what, let's focus on the heart. It's a tough process, but let's address matters of anger and bitterness. After that, we talk about building resilience. So this has happened. How do I even bounce back? Because moving forward is very difficult.
6 years to talk to anyone. 6 years
Exactly.
of silence and torment and torture.
Exactly. So how do I bounce back and be able to be productive? Because my other great concern is, being a mental health practitioner, people who do not address trauma, one, are prone to killing themselves. Two, very high tendencies of developing different types of anxiety and depression. So these are things that need to be addressed. So I take you through all that and try and show you, what are the effects of trauma, how does it come, how do you identify your personal triggers. For example, I would see something that relates to the event that happened, run away or I would start crying. So how do you deal with those meltdowns?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So those are some of the things I try and bring
it's
out very
important
strongly.
because you can go through all of these things, but then if
Yeah.
you don't address the issue of the heart,
Yeah, it's
then
true. It's true.
you will go on hurting other people.
very
You
true.
go on hurting other
It's very
people.
true.
And some people even contract HIV and be like, they're so bitter.
Exactly.
They decide, you know what,
I
I'm
will
going to spread it.
transmit.
I will
I
not
will
go alone,
transmit.
which is very,
Yeah.
very sad.
Yeah.
So for all the guys who are watching and they'd like to get in touch with you in terms of maybe getting counseling or even participating and offering their services to help other women who are going through with this, how can they get in touch with you?
Me?
Yes.
I'm running an organization. You can search Wooded Hira, www.woodedhira.org, or search on Facebook page at Wooded Hira 2018, or you can just search Eunice Nuna. I am so vocal whenever it comes to issues with rape because that's the only reason that I exist. And I only exist to fight this monster because it's painful.
It's a beautiful thing when you found your purpose in life, and sometimes it comes from a very bitter place and a sad place, but it's a good thing that you know this is the path that you were created for.
This is the path that I want.
V?
On Instagram, it's Youth Changes Kenya. Facebook, Youth Changes Kenya. Twitter, Youth Changes Kenya. If you'd want to reach out directly to me, just search Venoranda R. Kuboka. You will get hold of me.
Thank you so much for coming through. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep embracing and loving and fighting for this young girls and the women as well. Do you get women who are married as well?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
One of the things that you actually need to have a conversation about is
Is
intimate
rape.
partner violence. And
Intimate
especially
partner
rape
violence.
in relationships and in marriage.
Yeah. And we will.
Yeah, you should.
It is sad. But now you know what you need to do. If you need help, please reach out to either Miss V or Nuna and just talk. It goes a long way to just talk to someone. Do not suffer alone.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break right there. And when we come back, we've got Catherine Wangi on Books and Blog. I'm Bruno. We're out.